Ever wondered how computer games keep track of things like player stats, inventories, or scores? Well, in this video, we'll learn how to use variables to write programs that keep track of things. Hello everyone, my name is Mike and you're watching Polymath Unlimited. In this series, we are learning the C++ programming language by building our own Sudoku game. In the last video, we talked about what C++ is, why you should learn it, and how to write your first program. In this video, we will start building our Sudoku game by telling our program how to represent Sudoku's game board. In a program, data is represented by variables. Think of variables as boxes that we can put data into. Then, if we want to access the data that variable describes, we simply open the box and see what data is stored there. In C++, each variable has a certain type of data that it can store. For example, an int variable can store an integer value, while a float variable can store a number that has a decimal point. To use variables in our program, we need to declare them. To declare a variable, we simply tell the compiler what type of variable we are declaring, then we give that variable a name. For example, if we want to declare an integer variable called number, we simply type int number into our code. Don't forget the semicolon at the end of the line. To store some data in our variable, we use the assignment operator. The assignment operator looks like an equals sign, but it's not really an equals sign per se. This is simply telling the computer that we want to take the data represented by whatever is on the right-hand side of the equals sign and store that data in the variable on the left-hand side. We can do this either after we declare the variable or together with the variable's declaration. If we do this at the same time as we declare the variable, we call this initializing the variable. To access the data stored in a variable, we simply use the variable's name. For instance, if I use cout to write a message to the user, but instead of a message I just use the variable name, the program will simply write the value stored in that variable to the console. Keep in mind that we can only do this after a variable has been declared. For example, if I move the cout statement above the number variable declaration, then I will get a compiler error because we are using a variable before that variable has been declared. To use our variables as part of a mathematical expression, we can use the variable names with operators. For example, if I want to output the value stored in number plus 10, then I simply use the addition operator. There are lots of operators that you can use in C++. We could do a whole video on just operators. If you want a full list of available operators, a quick Google search will provide all the information you should need. Before going any farther, we should talk briefly about something called scope. See the curly braces on the main function? Those braces define the scope of the main function. Any code written within that scope is only visible to code that is also within that scope. For example, if I tried to use the number variable outside the scope of the main function, then the compiler will throw an error because it doesn't know what data we are trying to access. Variables declared within a scope are called local variables, while variables declared outside any scope are called global variables. In general, it is considered good practice to avoid the use of global variables, and we will do our best to follow that practice in all of the code we write in this series. Now we know how to write programs that have variables, but how does this help us with our Sudoku program? Well, we need some way to represent a Sudoku board using data on a computer. Variables seem like a great way to do that. A Sudoku board is just a 9x9 grid of numbers, so we could simply put 81 integer variables into our program to represent the board. However, that is a lot of variables to keep track of, and a lot of code to write. It turns out there's a much better way to do this. To represent our Sudoku board, we will use something called arrays. An array is simply an indexed list of variables of the same type. To create an array, we simply declare a variable as normal and then put how many values we want the array to store in brackets after the variable name. For example, int numbers, open bracket 10, close bracket, will create an array that stores 10 integer values. To modify or access the data stored in the array, we simply write the array name, followed by the number corresponding to which element of the array we want to access, in brackets. The important thing to note here is that the indices of the array start at 0. So to access the first element of numbers, we want to say numbers 0. For example, numbers 0 equals 1 sets the first element of the numbers array to 1. Similarly, if we write cout numbers 0 endline, that will output the value stored in the first element of the numbers array to the console. If we want to initialize our array with some predefined list of values, we simply use the assignment operator when we declare our array, and assign a list of values given between curly braces and separated by commas. We will represent our Sudoku board with a two-dimensional array. Internally, the computer represents this as an array of arrays, but it's often easier to think of this as a grid, where we can store data at locations specified by x and y coordinates. We can declare a two-dimensional array by declaring what type of data the array will store, followed by the name you would like to call the array, and then two sizes, both in brackets, specifying the width and height of the 2D array. We will declare a 9x9 array of integers to use for our board. To initialize the values in our array, we can do the same thing we did with one-dimensional arrays. The difference here is that we have a 2D array, so we will need to assign a list of lists to the array, like so. If we want to display the board to the user, we could simply do a bunch of cout statements. This works, however, doing things this way is quite verbose and makes our code quite long. Luckily, there's a better way to do this using loops, but we'll have to wait until the next video to cover that. Until then, happy programming, and I will see you next time.